Hello Exiles, Red Lord here. So we're 4 days and 7 hours from the league start of the next league in PoE2, and that's the Third Edict. And today in this video I wanted to talk about what's most likely going to be my league starter for this league. And yep, it's most likely going to be Hollow Palm Technique, since it's the new thing added into the game, opening up basically unarmed attacks in PoE2. And the one thing that completely sold me on basically deciding for unarmed in PoE2 was the animations. Just look at it. They look completely crisp. In my opinion, just crazy good, all of these animations. And yeah, basically the gameplay just sold me on playing unarmed because it looks so fun, so snappy, so crispy. And if we take a look at those stats right here that Hollow Palm Technique is giving us, so basically the first thing here, can attack as though using quarterstaff while both hand slots are empty. So basically will not be required to have a weapon, and instead are quarterstaff skill gems that we would normally use with quarterstaff. They're gonna be able to be used while unarmed, and they're gonna get their flat damage based off of gem levels. As you can see in the text right here, unarmed attacks that would use your quarterstaff's damage gain physical damage based on their skill level. So yeah, what's most likely going to happen for scaling flat damage in this way with Hollow Palm Technique is trying to get flat damage on either your jewelry or maybe basically on other items than your weapon, because you'll not be able to use weapon, and skill gem levels. So yeah, the next bonuses we're getting is 1% more attack speed per 25 item. That's important here. Item evasion rating on equipped armor items, and 0.1% base or flat crit chance, whatever you want to call it, per 10 item energy shield. So yeah, just let's take a look at the POB items I made here. And yep, I'm counting these rare gloves. They're named Thunderfist, and they have these specific stats because there's gonna be new gloves, and it's this one. It's already on the wiki, but it's not complete because we've seen it just from the showcase they showed us during the announcement. And yeah, basically new unique gloves, Thunderfist, evasion and energy shield hybrid gloves with what seems to be not that much energy shield and evasion, but really good stats for unarmed builds. Basically the flat damage we will need for unarmed, flat crit chance, and what's most likely going to be rolling, lightning resistance, and attack speed. But mainly what we're getting is this grand skill level 1 to 20 crackling palm. And what's it going to be? It was showcased somewhere in here, I think. Maybe. Yeah, bingo, Thunderfist. The crackling palm skill. And what's it going to do? It's basically this lightning bolt that strikes from the sky anytime you attack with your unarmed attack. And it can be any attack. And it seems to not have any cooldown so far from what we have seen. So yeah, basically kind of a no-brainer gloves that I think I'm going to be using, and hopefully they're not going to be expensive. Of course, we shall see. I have no idea, but since it's just for this one specific playstyle, unarmed playstyle, I don't think they're going to be that expensive. Especially with the new trade, you're definitely going to be able to snipe some good deals on these. Yeah, but these gloves and the rest is just rare gear, and I just put into the POB this specific gear that is basically energy shield and evasion hybrids, and all of these items are pretty damn bad. Like this is pretty much nothing package, like not really good items, just trying to simulate the earlier stages of the build. So basically body armor with no resists, no nothing, like, yeah, not even runes. By the way, these items don't have rune socketed. So yeah, these items I have currently equipped are the starting gear that I expect to get on the launch weekend, definitely. Maybe when you reach maps or something, because this really isn't any crazy gear. But I've made these 3 items that are just to compare it. They are with basically minimum tier 1 rolls of modifiers, copies of those items, but on the right basis with tier 1 rolls, but still without runes. And why did I do this? It's because I wanted to calculate the bonuses that the hollow palm technique is going to give you. So it was somewhere around here, I think. Somewhere, give me a second, please. Yeah, Walker. Yeah, hollow palm technique right here. So the 1% more attack speed and 0.1 crit. So yeah, let's just, I did already do the calculation. So 3-1 flashbang warning. And it's this thing right here. I calculated it with the item basis that I made right here, what I think will be achievable on the first weekend, pretty much nothing. And we're looking at 727 energy shield, base energy shield, just from the items that I'm going to be having. And by the way, I'm counting pure energy shield helmet, not evasion energy shield hybrid. And why is that? Because if the, what is it, Septifuge, yeah, Septifuge mask, if this notable on the skill tree is still the same then that it is right now in the game, like this, then I think it will be worth it to have just pure energy shield helmet, because I don't want to go just overboard on just trying to get as much hybrid bases, because this is going to result in more evasion for defense. However, keep in mind, with this note, the evasion that you're gonna get from energy shield on your helmet, it is definitely not gonna be scaled by a hollow palm, because it counts only the item stats, and if the item itself has just energy shield, then it's gonna give you bonuses for just energy shield. Just to clarify, why am I doing this? It's just because of Septifuge Mask, because it's so freaking powerful. So, yeah, if you're going to want to do the calculation for yourself, I'm gonna leave the POB just like you see it right here in the description of the video. But yeah, we're looking at 727 energy shield flat from items, and that equals 7.27 base crit, which at first you might be thinking, yeah, that's nice, but isn't it quite low, since quarterstaves, have, I believe, 10% flat crit minimum, right? And yes, you would be right, that's what I initially thought, but in the patch notes, they revealed something really great and interesting. Where is it? And if we type in unarmed, this is the hollow palm information. Yeah, this sentence right here. Unarmed attacks now have base critical hit chance of 5%, previously none. So unarmed attacks previously, if you didn't know, they had 0% crit chance base, and now they're going to have 5. So 5 is gonna be the base, and you're gonna get 7.27 with this specific gear I have in the POB plus. And this is base crit, and by that I mean flat crit. Technically speaking, base crit is the 5%, but this is gonna add on to the base crit, so 5 plus 7.27, right? So in the end, it's not going to be that bad in terms of crit. It's going to be similar to, if not even better than wearing normal quarterstaff. It's in the end with high-end gear, I think it's gonna be even better, even more base crit. And you won't require a weapon, which is great because if you've played quarterstaffs before, you might know that weapons that have higher base crit roll as an affix are a bit more expensive than the ones without it. So yeah, that is great indeed. And with the evasion from these items that I have equipped right here, it's going to result in 1101 evasion rating from items, and that equals 40.04 more attack speed, since as we can see from the stats on the hollow palm itself, it's gonna be 1% more attack speed per 25 item evasion. And just so we can see, 1000, what was it, 100? 1101 evasion rating divided by 25 equals 44.04. So, and that is a more attack speed multiplier. So if you manage to find a way how to get lots of increased attack speed into the build, this attack speed modifier is going to scale on top of that. So yeah, in the end, I think we're going to see quite a decent attack speed on these builds. And by the way, if you didn't know, base attack speed for Unarmed, unlike in PoE1, where it is, I think, 1.1 attacks per second, in PoE2, Unarmed attack speed is 1.4 attacks per second. And yes, POB is true right here, it is correct. I double checked it in game. Base attack speed for Unarmed attacks is 1.4 seconds indeed. And they didn't nerf it, they didn't change it, they didn't do anything to it. So this is the base attack speed we're looking at. And yeah, if we take a look at some higher end items that I've had right here, like this Kamasan Tiara, basically triple tier 1 for energy shield. Yep, I know these items are going to be expensive, but doesn't matter. Just to showcase you that you can scale this to different levels. With items like these, we're looking at 1086 energy shield just from items, and that equals 10.86 base crit plus 5. So as you can see, you're kinda getting into higher territory of base crit than you would normally have with your quarterstaffs. So yeah, and that's, by the way, still using the thunderfist unique, because thunderfist unique is not going to have much evasion or energy shield, as from what we've seen at least. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you decide not to use these gloves, you're gonna have even more, right? So, and then we're looking at 1640 evasion, and that means 65.6% more attack speed, and all of these numbers right here are without runes socketed into gear. Because as I was making this POB, I realized that I completely forgot to include runes into this. So for example, if we take a look at the right base body armor we have right here with the high-end rolls, it's gonna be 452 energy shield and 1178 evasion rating. If we put 2 runes in for increased evasion and energy shield, which are iron runes, I cannot type. Yeah, we're looking at 1423 evasion rating and 546 energy shield. So yeah, we can get quite a good numbers indeed. And just keep in mind that if we're going to combine it on an Invoker, which I am probably going to do, I'm gonna get from that energy shield and armor on my energy shield and evasion on my armor, I'm going to get spirit. And I'm thinking about adding spirit in terms of procking spells, because I really want to make this build feel like, I don't know, if you've played Diablo 2 back in the day, or even now, you kind of remember those builds that looked really good, like with torches and procking all of this stuff on hit, but usually those builds weren't so good. And I believe that I can make a monk kind of this Diablo 2 style, just high attack speed and procking basically every kind of stuff on hit that you can, just to make it visually appealing, right? Just that's the whole kind of vibe I would say I want to have with this character, and that's what why I would probably go with Invoker, because I want to play with and scatter them into the winds, and that's the trigger elemental expression on melee crit. I believe it has a quarter second cooldown, so it's not gonna be on every hit, and also it requires you to crit with melee attacks. But I've played it before, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit brutal in terms of, it was not a bit, it was unplayably brutal in terms of mana cost, because it had incredibly high mana cost, and if you had 100% crit, you were proccing it basically if you had one attack or 4 attacks per second on, yeah, basically the mana cost was too high to sustain, but we're getting new ways to sustain mana through Walker of the Wilds right here. The new keystone, mana leech, recovers based on your elemental damage types instead of physical damage, and we're gonna be doing mainly elemental damage. So yeah, basically I think that that's gonna help us big time to with triggering this elemental expression. And at the same time, I think it was in the podcast with Ziggy, they were talking about mana cost, and that they're basically lowering mana cost all across the board. So I think we will be able to sustain this. And if not, then yes, it will be a hit for the character, but mainly like roleplay wise, because that's exactly what happened to me last time. I really wanted to play this massive procking monk that was just obliterate and cast every single little thing on hit basically, and yeah, it wasn't really possible, but now I think it will. And at the same time, the elemental expression is getting a buff, and it was in the patch notes somewhere. Elemental expression, yeah, right here. Elemental expression skill bar granted by scatter them to the winds. Yeah. Basically, what it's getting is number-wise, it's getting more flat damage at all gem levels, basically, and it's a sizable buff. You can search for it in the patch notes. I'm gonna leave the patch notes in the description too. But yeah, it's a sizable buff. I don't know if it's going to be enough, because yeah, the scaling on it is a bit weird, because if you would read the description of it in game, I don't think it's included in Path of Building. The elemental expression you trigger with melee crit, it is a spell, it's not an attack. And yeah, that makes it quite weird to scale, because normally with attacks you would just scale attack damage, like, I don't know, these notes for example right here. But now, since your elemental expression is a spell, so it makes it a bit harder to try and scale both attack and both attack and spell damage at the same time. But in the monk area especially, there is support for it, like these clusters right here, elemental damage if you've ignited recently, or just these trigger spell damage clusters. By the way, these count as triggers. So they I think in game they have the trigger tag, so notes like these 40% increased damage if you triggered skill recently. That's not just 40% increased damage for those triggered skills, but also for all of your skills all across the board, because it's just increased damage. Or similar notes like these, increased damage if you've dealt a crit strike in past 8 seconds. So that's how I'm gonna try and scale the character if I'm playing it, of course, but I'm 99% sure that I'm going to Leaguestarter it. So yeah, feel free to hop on a journey if you want to. I'll be streaming it, definitely, and posting it on YouTube. But yeah, that's gonna be the main way I'm going to try and scale this, our increases of damage to this character. We're definitely gonna get some unarmed clusters. There's currently one somewhere. Whoops. Unarmed, yeah, right here. There's just this unarmed cluster on the whole skill tree, and I think we're gonna get more support and some reworks to these existing nodes, because these are really just weird. Like, why would this node have reduced damage with unarmed attacks? Doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, we're gonna see some changes, definitely. Don't worry. Just need for the POB to patch, and then we can theorycraft properly. So yeah, we're gonna see quite a bunch of these, I think, changed, and lots of new stuff added to the skill tree. But what I was thinking about, since we're gonna be scaling Spirit through our Lead Me Through Grace node, and we're gonna get quite a bunch of it, I am thinking to make use of that Spirit. I am thinking of actually going maybe for, where was the keystone? Was it? Yeah, Trusted Kingship. For stuff like these, I mean companions, and try and actually scale the companions, because yeah, just there's this node right here, increases and reductions to companion damage also affect you, which would mean that any node like this, companions deal 12% increased damage. That would mean also you deal 12% increased damage. And this doesn't require your companion to be alive. So even if the companion dies, these nodes still apply. Of course, the second part of this node, 8% increased damage while in presence of your companion, that wouldn't work if the companion is dead, of course, but the first part, the 12% increased damage, would work. And again, this is 12% increased generic damage, which I will want, because I want to truly be maybe even combining some self-casting spells and all of that. I mean, we shall see, since we're not gonna have the 0.5 second or 0.25 second delay, I can't remember right now, delay of weapon swapping. So maybe I'm gonna even include some self-casting spells with all of this generic damage scaling, and hopefully generic crit damage scaling, thanks to nodes like, where was it? Yeah, these clusters right here, these are generic crit chance, these are generic crit chance, these are generic crit chance. With all of this generic crit chance scaling and generic crit damage and generic increased damage, I believe I will be maybe able to include some self-casting spells. So yeah, but that's basically the theory crafting for now. That's, if you are, some of you may be wondering what I will be league starting, it probably is going to be this thing. I'm quite sure, as I said, like 99%. But maybe if they release some more patch notes, or if, I don't know, if after we get POV updated and we're gonna see the skill tree, maybe I'm gonna change my mind and play something else. But yeah, just from what I've seen in the video itself, from GG, the Hollow Farm and the whole unarmed build, it looked so freaking crisp, and just the animations and yeah, basically fisting action, it looks so goddamn good. So that's most likely what I'm going to be playing, and I don't think I'll change my mind. Maybe, just maybe, I'll change my mind and not play Invoker and try the new Acolyte of Chayula that's gonna get reworked. However, I don't think that's gonna happen, just because I really want to try again with Elemental Expression and really try and scale it to also deal damage. So bunch of attack speed, bunch of small hits, but lots of them everywhere, and this way I'm gonna try and play the character. Really stay with the fisting, high attack speed theme. So yeah, that's the video. Hopefully you're looking forward to the league as much as I am. And yeah, good luck on the Leaguestarter, Exiles. See you in the next one.